What if I told you that everything you think you know about money is wrong? That the financial advice you've been following, the same advice your parents followed, the same advice financial advisors have been recycling for decades, is actually keeping you broke? Right now, in 2025, there's a quiet revolution happening in the world of personal finance, and the people who understand these secrets are building wealth faster than ever before. But here's the thing that should make you pause. These aren't really secrets at all. They're strategies that wealthy people have been using for generations, hidden in plain sight, while the rest of us chase shiny objects and get rich quick schemes. Today, I'm pulling back the curtain on what the financially successful really do with their money and why it's completely different from what you've been told. Let me start with a story that will probably make you angry. Meet David, a financial advisor who worked for one of the biggest investment firms in the country. For 15 years, he gave the same advice to thousands of clients. Diversify your portfolio, invest in mutual funds, and trust the market. Standard stuff, right? But here's what David never told his clients, and what his firm explicitly instructed him not to share. David wasn't following his own advice. While he was recommending expensive mutual funds with high fees to his clients, he was quietly building his own wealth using completely different strategies. David's personal portfolio looked nothing like what he recommended to others. He wasn't diversified across dozens of investments. Instead, he concentrated his money in a few areas he understood deeply. He wasn't paying mutual fund fees of 1% or 2% annually. He was using low-cost index funds that charged almost nothing. Most importantly, he wasn't trying to time the market or pick winning stocks. He was doing something so simple, it seemed almost boring. But it was making him wealthy while his clients stayed stuck. This is the first secret that's been exposed in 2025. The financial industry has been selling you complexity when simplicity actually works better. Think about it. Have you ever noticed how financial advice seems to require a PhD to understand? How every strategy comes with confusing terminology and multiple layers of fees? That's not an accident. Complexity is profitable for them, not for you. Here's what David finally realized, and what he wishes he could have told every client. The best investment strategy is often the most boring one. While everyone else was chasing the next hot stock or trying to predict market crashes, the people who actually built lasting wealth were doing three simple things consistently. They were spending less than they earned, investing the difference in low-cost funds, and ignoring the noise. That's it. No complex formulas, no secret algorithms, no insider information required. But 2025 has revealed something even more shocking about how wealthy people really think about money. They don't see money the way most people do. When you and I look at $1,000, we see things we could buy. A vacation, new clothes, the latest gadget. When wealthy people look at $1,000, they see something completely different. They see future income. They see that $1,000 working for them, earning returns, growing into something much bigger over time. This shift in perspective changes everything. Sarah, a nurse who discovered these secrets 2 years ago, put it perfectly. I used to think about money as something I had to spend or save. Now I think about every dollar as an employee that could be working for me. This mindset shift transformed her finances completely. Instead of seeing investing as putting money away where she couldn't touch it, she started seeing it as hiring little workers who would earn money for her around the clock. Here's the secret that changes everything about budgeting, and it's something the financial industry doesn't want you to know because it's too simple to sell courses about. Wealthy people don't budget the way you've been taught. They don't track every penny or categorize every expense into neat little buckets. Instead, they use what's called reverse budgeting, or paying yourself first. Before they pay any bills, buy any groceries, or spend money on anything else, they automatically move money into their investment accounts. Whatever's left over is what they live on. This sounds backwards, doesn't it? Shouldn't you pay your bills first and invest what's left? That's exactly what keeps most people broke. There's never anything left. But when you flip it around, when you invest first and live on what remains, something magical happens. You force yourself to live below your means without the pain of traditional budgeting. Your wealth building becomes automatic and inevitable. The technology revolution of 2025 has exposed another secret that's been hiding in plain sight. You know those apps that round up your purchases and invest the spare change? Most people think they're just cute gimmicks. But here's what the financially savvy understand. Micro-investing is the gateway drug to real wealth building. It's not about the few dollars you save from rounding up purchases. It's about creating the habit and mindset of investing without the fear and paralysis that stops most people from starting. Maria, a college student working part-time, started with one of these apps 2 years ago. She thought she was just playing around with loose change. But something interesting happened. Watching her tiny investments grow, even just a few dollars, made investing feel real and achievable instead of intimidating and impossible. Within 6 months, she had opened a proper investment account and was contributing real money every month. The Spare Change app didn't make her rich, but it made her an investor. Here's perhaps the biggest secret exposed in 2025, and it's going to challenge everything you believe about risk and safety. The financial industry has trained us to think that keeping money in savings accounts is safe and investing in the stock market is risky. But inflation has turned this logic completely upside down. In 2025, keeping large amounts of money in low-interest savings accounts isn't safe. It's guaranteed to lose buying power over time. Let me put this in perspective. If you have $10,000 in a savings account earning 1% interest, but inflation is running at 3%, you're not preserving your money. You're losing $200 in buying power every year. Meanwhile, the stock market, despite its ups and downs, has historically outpaced inflation over long periods. So which is really riskier? The investment that goes up and down but generally grows over time, or the safe account that steadily loses buying power every single year? The wealthy understand something that most people miss. There are different types of risk. There's the risk of losing money in the short term, which gets all the headlines and creates all the fear. But there's also the risk of not having enough money for the life you want, which is actually much more dangerous, but gets talked about much less. By obsessing over short-term safety, most people expose themselves to long-term financial insecurity. This brings us to perhaps the most controversial secret exposed in 2025. Debt isn't always the enemy. I know that goes against everything you've been told. You've been taught that all debt is bad, that you should pay off every penny as quickly as possible. But wealthy people use debt strategically. They understand the difference between good debt and bad debt, and they use good debt to build wealth faster. Here's the distinction that changes everything. Bad debt costs you money every month and doesn't build any value. Credit card debt on consumption, car loans, expensive vacations, these drain your wealth. Good debt, on the other hand, helps you acquire assets that can grow in value or generate income. A mortgage on a rental property, business loans that generate revenue, even student loans for education that significantly increases earning power. These can actually accelerate wealth building when used wisely. Tom, a mechanic who learned this secret, stopped obsessing over paying off his mortgage early and instead invested that extra money in index funds. Over 10 years, his investments grew much faster than he was saving on mortgage interest. He could have paid off his house and owned it free and clear, but instead, he owned his house, plus a substantial investment portfolio that was generating income every month. But here's the secret that ties everything together, the one that explains why some people build wealth effortlessly while others struggle despite earning good incomes. Wealthy people have systems, not just goals. Most people set financial goals, save more money, pay off debt, invest for retirement. But goals without systems are just wishes. Wealthy people create automatic systems that make the right financial decisions inevitable. They automate their investing so they never have to decide whether to invest or spend. They automate their bill payments so they never pay late fees. They automate their savings so they never have to choose between saving and spending. They remove willpower from the equation entirely. Poor financial decisions aren't usually about lack of knowledge. They're about decision fatigue and competing priorities in the moment. The most successful people I know could go on vacation for a month and come back to find their finances in better shape than when they left, because their systems keep working even when they're not thinking about money. Their wealth builds in the background while they focus on living their lives. Here's what nobody tells you about building wealth in 2025. It's not about making perfect decisions or having special knowledge. It's about making good enough decisions consistently over time. The people who get rich slowly but surely aren't financial geniuses. They're people who learned a few simple principles and stuck with them while everyone else chased shiny objects and got distracted by the noise. Your wealth isn't determined by how much you earn. It's determined by how much you keep and how well you deploy what you keep. There are teachers and firefighters who retire as millionaires, and there are doctors and lawyers who live paycheck to paycheck despite high incomes. The difference isn't what they earn, it's what they do with what they earn. These secrets aren't really secrets at all. They're principles that have been available to anyone willing to look past the marketing and complexity of the financial industry. In 2025, with all the tools and resources available, building wealth has never been more accessible. The only question is whether you'll use these principles or keep following the conventional wisdom that keeps most people financially stuck. Start with one system today. Automate one investment. Question one piece of conventional wisdom. Your future self will thank you for every small decision you make right now to build wealth instead of just earning it. The secrets are out there, hiding in plain sight. The question is, what will you do with them? Drop a comment and let me know which of these secrets surprised you most. And don't forget to subscribe for more financial truths that actually work in the real world. Your journey to financial freedom starts with seeing through the myths and embracing what actually works. Thanks for watching the video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Comment below and let us know which part of the video you liked the most.